Hey everybody, this is Ryan.
And this is Kyle.
And you are listening to
The Doctor's Watcher, the Spelunkers podcast about every episode of Doctor Who.
Excellent. Climbing around in caves, and also a very fun word to say.
Indeed, both true things. I feel like caves haven't really come up on the show as much recently. They're kind of sort of in a cave in this serial, but also kind of not really.
Yeah. And I mean, caves are fun. I'm on board with chanting caves.
Caves,
but
caves.
Caves. Exactly. But then you hear the story about Nutty Putty Cave, the guy that got stuck in there and stuff. Oh man. Kind of sours you on caves a little bit.
Well, the reason I actually mention spelunking on this particular episode actually is because, we've both been traveling a bit recently, and I was, before we started recording, telling you a little bit about some of my travels, but the part that I didn't mention until just now on mic is that on my way up to Central Washington, I stopped at Lava Beds National Monument in Northern California and basically spent a full day there going in I think 6 or 7 different caves.
Oh, cool. So is it like lava caves and everything you'd expect from a lava flow?
Yeah, basically, the area was, I don't remember how long ago, but, long ass time ago, a big fucking volcano went off and covered the area in lava, which you can very much still see, as you drive through it.
Awesome.
And yeah, as the lava, flows and parts of it cool at different rates than other parts and whatnot. And it, parts of it collapse as it cools and whatever, and it ends up creating these big extensive cave systems that are just lava tubes essentially.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. One of the caves that I went in is called Golden Dome because there are these parts of it where there's this weird bacteria growing in these, giant mats of this bacteria. And it's harmless to humans, but it when you shine your flashlight on it, kind of almost glows bright orange.
Cool.
And yeah, just because that's what color it is. And it's really neat. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
There's one I went in called Skull Cave, which I guess is named that because there used to be a bunch of animal skeletons in there. I think they've basically been cleared out since then. But, it's kind of funny because in the, the pamphlet that the visitor center gives you or whatever, it talks about the various different caves you can go in and, has them in, beginner caves, intermediate caves, and expert caves and whatever. And Skull Cave, they're yeah, this cave is super easy. There's wide pathways and flat surfaces that you're walking on. You never need to duck or anything. So anyone can go in this cave. But what they don't tell you is that if you want to get to the end of the cave or the bottom or whatever, then you need to go down this old metal kind of rickety staircase that was built before I was born.
Oh shit.
And there's a couple staircases and various bridges and stuff in the caves, and most of them felt pretty secure. This particular one, the stairs go down a ways and then there's a little landing, and then the stairs continue down in a different direction. And both on my way down and on my way back up, I swear I felt the landing move when I stepped on it.
Oh man. Yeah, that's
it's like
not reassuring.
But yeah, on the way down, I was like, well, I guess I'm past it now, so I might as well keep going. And then on the way up, it's like, well, I don't have any other choice but going back up this.
Fun.
So yeah, it was cool. I will say to our listeners that I was caving solo, which is dangerous and not recommended. You should generally go with somebody in case like something happens.
Right.
But I was uninjured on my expeditions.
That's good. And very brave. Pretty cool. Sounds like a fun cave to like poke around in and like investigate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. And I mostly stayed in like the easy parts of the caves. Like, you know, I would go for a while and then there's a part where it's like, okay, I'm fine with like ducking my head for a little while, but if it looks like I'm going to have to like duck for a long time, or if I'm going to have to like crawl, then like, no, I'm not really interested. I'm going to turn around.
Right, exactly. Like those are the parts where you get stuck and like, you know, you become the caution story.
Right.
And I don't want to be that. Well, nice. That sounds very adventuresome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. If you were ever in, you know, very northern central California or southern Oregon, I would recommend checking out Lava Beds National Monument.
Yeah, cool. That sounds like my kind of place. I feel like we checked out something like that when we were kids. Craters of the Moon.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's in Idaho or something.
Something. I don't quite remember where it is. But yeah, I remember doing that as a kid. I think at the time I was kind of too young to really get it. But other than like, this is a cool place.
Yeah, same. And I think, I don't really remember this part, but Mom said like we were really sick or I was really sick.
Yeah,
like,
that
like
sounds
right. Sulfur burps or something like that, which that's the worst.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, cool. Yeah, I guess we've kind of always been fans of caves.
Yeah, totally. I think we have both been to Nutty Putty caves that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, usually with like scouts or like scout related activities. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was never much of like a, you know, spelunker with like a helmet and like spiked shoes and ropes and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Well, cool. That sounds very fun.
Yeah. So what have you been up to?
Well, yeah, you mentioned I'd been traveling as well, and that's true. So yeah, we took a trip out to Las Vegas. The first part of it was for our friend's wedding. So that was like, I think we got there on like Sunday, and then their wedding was on Tuesday, and they got married in this weird, cheesy little chapel by an Elvis impersonator. Nice. He was like, yeah, like he kept referencing song titles and like singing and dancing and doing a little finger gun point thing and like the pelvis, Elvis the pelvis. But he wasn't as good at that one. But it was fun. And then let's see, the day after that, we went to this cool like daytime pool party thing. There was this DJ, what was he called? Dioro, I think. He does like this Latin house blend, which was kind of fun. You know, you know me, I'm pretty picky about music usually, but like this trip, I sort of decided like just to kind of relax about it. So I just tried to get in the vibe rather than being critical. And yeah, it worked. Like that pool party was fun. Like we didn't get sunburned, even though it was hot, and like, hanging out in a pool, like with dance music and people all around you going crazy. Like, there were all these people there, I think for that DJ, like a ton of like Latino people. And I remember like at one point, like they all knew the song and the lyrics were, yo no quiero agua, yo quiero bebida, like over and over. So that was fun. And then our friends left pretty much after that. So that was Wednesday. They left on Thursday. But then some of our other friends came in from Denver on Thursday and met up with us. And Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we went to the Electric Daisy Carnival music festival. And that was really, really fun. Yeah, we've been a few times before, but I think this might be like my favorite one.
Cool.
Yeah, just because, basically for that reason, like I'd been a few times before and I know how awesome it is. Just like this 3-day festival of pure good, heavy EDM music, any kind you could want. And it's like exhausting, but it's way, way fun. But like our friends had never been. They're kind of like younger, couple. One's like late 20s and one's early 30s. So it was like, I was really excited because they didn't even know what they were in for, So like we took them and I was like, yeah, let's go see whatever you guys want. And we kind of like made like a hybrid plan of what they wanted and we wanted to see, and like sort of built in times to wander around and just kind of enjoy the festival and stuff. And yeah, it was perfect. Like, they took me to a few stages that I probably wouldn't have gone to, but that I really enjoyed.
Oh, sure.
So that was fun. Like saw this crazy DJ from, I think she's German. She's called Rebecca. And like, she just plays this really, really hard, really fast techno that does not relent. And it's like, wow, this is pretty fun, actually.
Nice.
And like at one point we got to ride the Ferris wheel. I think my partner said there's 3 or 4 different Ferris wheels at the festival, and we went on the biggest one, I guess. But that was pretty sweet, though, just to see like this huge crowd. I think they said it was like 170,000 people.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, on the peak night, which I believe is Sunday night. So yeah, it was really, really fun. It kind of got me back into, not that I was ever not, but it like stoked my addiction to electronic music. So I've been finding a lot more new music and making music and stuff like that. So
right on.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Also, not working for like a week and a half was incredibly excellent. The only part that sucked was like, so coming home, going to Vegas is a 3-hour difference earlier for me, because they're on Pacific time and I'm on Eastern, which, not that big of a deal. I can hang. But then the festival itself, so like we got there and we kind of adjusted to that time. But then the festival, like you're getting there, I mean, unless you go early, you can get there, I think, as early as like 6 p.m. or something like that. But, we got there pretty much like 9 to 10-ish, like when it was just getting going, like the festival, and like it doesn't stop until sunrise. So like we were staying out pretty late. Like I was drinking Red Bulls and stuff just to like have the energy,
Sure.
And like we would get home sometimes 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Las Vegas time, which is like, 10 a.m. here, like on Monday, Monday morning after that final Sunday, party, we were getting home. I think it was like 7 a.m. in Vegas. And I was like, man, like my coworkers are like already at work. They've already had morning stand up. They're like, elbows deep in projects or whatever. And like, I'm just getting home from partying. Like, this is crazy. So yeah. And then like trying to convert back has been weird. Like, it's finally,
I bet. Yeah.
Like it's finally kind of gone away, but like, I thought it was going to be easy because we were kind of exhausted and like, we got back and we're going to bed around 9 or 10 p.m. as usual. But then, like 1:30, 2:30, I'll just pop awake. And my body's like, okay, cool. Like we're ready to go. It's like, no, we're not ready to go. But then thinking back, it's like, actually, yeah, we would just be, getting to the festival and like getting amped up and like ready to go and really excited. So yeah, that's been weird. Like just randomly waking up in the middle of the night, not tired anymore. But yeah, it's always good to have a little break from reality for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, I have come prepared with a joke before we get into the episode.
Nice.
So this guy walks into a doctor's office and there's a duck on his head. And the receptionist says, "What can we do for you?" And the duck replies, "Get this wart off my ass."
Nice. Well, let's see what kind of warts are on the ass of the Cyberdick controller.
Right.
This is episode 3 of season 5 and episode 3 of the Tomb of the Cybermen. And do you want to remind us of a Cliff Dingler?
Yeah. Quick side note, I guess they would have to be kind of like probably rust warts on a Cyberman's ass.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, the end of last episode, lots of things happened, but basically the Cybermen are all kind of waking up, and this party member, Klieg, so like they've kind of been waking up and like doing hijinks, but finally they free their cyber controller, Dick, from his cell. And Klieg, one of the party members, kind of steps up and is like, "Hey, this was all my idea. You're welcome for like waking you up." And they kind of like, I think they like hurt his hand or something. And they're just like, "You're our slave," or whatever. Like,
yeah, I think they just like toss him aside or whatever. And yeah. So yeah, the doctor and the other expeditioners, like the NPC party members, they all start talking to this cyber controller with his, its head shaped like a dick, and they're asking about like how the Cybermen knew that someone would come unfreeze them someday. And the doctor, like through this conversation, kind of ends up realizing or deciding that it was a very complicated trap that the Cybermen laid centuries ago because they wanted to trap people with superior intellects.
Interesting.
So yeah, I guess like all the, the logic puzzles to use the control panels and whatever, it was all meant to get smart people, basically.
Right, which of course, gives the doctor a good chance to take a little pat on the back, give himself a little pat on the back. Of course we fell into this. We're smart.
We were too smart to avoid getting trapped by the Cybermen.
Right. Man, I'm going to have to remember that one for future use.
back up top, like outside of the tomb area in the hatch, Victoria has gone and gotten the American NPCs out of the rocket to try to help her open the hatch back up. But they kind of don't really believe her that anything's wrong. And they keep calling her Vic, which she really doesn't like. She says that if they won't help, she's just going to start pulling like every lever on the control panel until the hatch opens back up. And I guess they decide to help because of that.
Like, oh God, another lever episode? No, fine, we'll help.
I wouldn't do that, Vic. Come on, Jim, we better do as she says.
Jamie wants to go back to the ladder, like climb up the ladder and try to open the hatch from the inside. But the doctor warns him against it. He says it's too risky, and like the Cybermen wouldn't even let them reach the ladder, let alone like climb it and open the hatch. So instead, the doctor starts exploring the Cyberdic controller's dialogue tree and like trying to see what kind of like backstory nodes he can unlock. And he learns that after he destroyed their first planet, Mondas, in the 10th planet, they were starting to become extinct. Apparently, like, their machinery had all stopped working and like their supply of replacement parts or whatever had been depleted. That's why they attacked the moon base.
Oh.
Jamie doesn't still fully understand what's going on now, though.
What difference does capturing us make? You'll still become extinct.
We will survive. We will survive. Now you will help us.
Interesting. And Jamie wasn't around for the moon base, right?
No, I don't think he was.
Okay. Yeah.
Or no. Wait, he was, but he was unconscious for most of it.
Oh yeah, that's right. He fell into the.
He thought it was the Phantom Piper.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I remember now.
So the controller basically says that it's going to turn them all into Cybermen, and the Cybermen all start grabbing scientists and expeditioners and NPCs, and they go into initiative order.
Nice.
The Cybermen like basically kick ass in combat. No one is really able to do like much of anything against them. One of the Cybermen even picks up Toberman, who's, like the big, strong servant guy, and it holds Toberman over its head and basically like suplexes him into a stack of barrels.
Oh, snap.
And another Cyberman tells the doctor,
"The trial is futile."
That's very, very zen.
Uh-huh. Jamie's like, fuck this, and he flees combat. The DM makes him roll like 3 different stealth checks as he makes his way through the area, like toward the ladder up to the hatch. But he keeps rolling well, and he keeps passing his checks until he's actually like climbing the ladder, and he fails a perception check and gets hit in the back with a bolt of electricity from a Cyberman that he didn't notice.
Oh, man. So close.
Up top, one of the Americans thinks he's figured out which lever to pull to open the hatch, but before he pulls it, Kaftan, it turns out, actually recovered her consciousness a while ago and has been faking being unconscious. She sneaks over to recover her gun that they've all just kind of left sitting around, and she tells them all to freeze and put their hands up. So the Americans are like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, your dudes are down there too. And she's just like, Klieg needs to be undisturbed, but I'm going to open it back up as soon as he gives me the signal. The camera cuts to the cyber slug for a moment, and Victoria screams, which was not really clear why that happened, because the cyber slug like wasn't moving or attacking or anything.
Yeah, hadn't she like shot it or something?
I think so. Yeah, that sounds right. But her scream does distract Kaftan for a moment, and the Americans attack her and get the gun back. So I don't know, maybe that is why Victoria screamed, is just to do a distraction. But who knows? And yeah, then the American guy pulls the lever and the hatch opens, but it's pretty quiet down in the hatch, and they're all kind of worried that something's happened to all the people down there. So the Americans start preparing to head down there themselves. Of course, they're going to leave Victoria back up top because she's a girl, or a lady, a female human.
Right. She can't handle these kind of adventures.
The Cyberdick controller is explaining to Klieg that because he's a logician and the Cyberman race is also logical, they're going to make him be the leader of the new race. So he's getting like super excited that they're all finally going to listen to his proposals. And the controller's like,
Yes, we will listen, but first you will be altered.
They are apparently going to eliminate fear from his brain. And they also like pick out which NPC they're going to start working on next after they're done with Klieg. But before they can actually do anything about it, the Americans show up and they start throwing smoke bombs, which cause all the Cybermen to kind of like stumble around disorientedly while all the humans run away. It's like kind of comical how effective the smoke bombs are on the Cybermen.
Nice.
Toberman does get caught by the Cybermen, though. It takes like 2 or 3 big zaps of electricity to take him down, but they get him. The doctor is the last person to come up out of the hatch, but as he comes up, Cyberman grabs his leg and starts trying to pull him down. So Victoria and Jamie come over and like, grab his upper body and start trying to pull him up. And the Cyberman grabs Victoria and starts trying to pull her down. But they get the doctor out and they shut the hatch. And it basically, shuts the Cyberman in as they pull Victoria out of its grasp. They can hear it like banging on the inside of the hatch, and it even like puts a few big dents into the hatch lid from the inside.
Nice.
And then, of course, they look around and count how many people are here, and they realize that both Klieg and Toberman are still down there. Hello, folks, and welcome to the Doctor's Watcher. Please listen while sitting upright with your back and shoulders against the seat back, and keep your hands, arms, legs, and feet inside the podcast at all times until it comes to a complete stop. Please do not touch the orange lap bar for the duration of the podcast, and please tell all your friends how much you enjoyed the podcast and leave a 5-star rating and review on the podcast rating and review platform of your choice. Enjoy the ride! Klieg is evading the Cybermen. He's rolling a bunch of good stealth checks. He's knocking on the inside of the hatch, but the expeditioners up top are not sure whether they should open the hatch or not, because they don't know if it's the Cybermen knocking on the hatch. But the doctor thinks it's too weak to be the Cybermen knocking. And he also thinks that it would be more dangerous to have Klieg down there with the Cybermen than it would be to have him up here where like the doctor can keep an eye on him. So They decide to open the hatch. Klieg gets out. They shut it again. Klieg reveals that, the Cybermen have Tobermen, and the expeditioners decide that they should probably just lock Kaftan and Klieg up in the weapons testing room, since there's only one door into or out of that room. Not quite sure seems like the best idea, but...
Right. Like, they could die, but at least they won't escape.
Meanwhile, the American engineer still has work to do on the rocket, so he heads back to keep doing that. He tells the doctor that he doesn't think they'll have any more trouble, but the doctor kind of glances toward the DM and sees how many pages of notes he still has. We cut down to the Cybermen, who have Tobermen, just like Klieg said, and they decide to use the power of cybernetics on him, so they go and get out a few cyber mats, which is what they call the cyber slugs.
Mm-hmm. They're like, no, Cyberman, not Toberman.
These cyber mats that they get, though, are not slug-sized like the ones we saw earlier. They're like loaf of bread size. So they're like giant slugs, giant cyber slugs.
Awesome.
And they put them all on the ground near Toberman, but they don't really seem to be doing anything. I guess their batteries are all dead. Meanwhile, up in the weapons testing room, Klieg and Kaftan start doing the obvious thing to do in that room, which is trying to get the cyber gun off of the testing device and equip it themselves.
Nice.
We cut back down to the Cybermen. They have apparently now charged the cybermats, and they put them back on the ground, and they roll slightly toward Tobermen. And then we cut back to the weapons testing room, where Klieg has the cyber gun equipped, and he's blasting away at the wall. Kaftan is trying to get him riled up to basically fight against the Cybermen, but he seems pretty scared of them until she rolls a couple persuasion checks and uses her charisma bonus to convince him that having a cyber gun equipped grants him invulnerability, which is a misconception people with guns often have.
Right.
But it works. He's on board with challenging the Cybermen and taking over and shit, especially because it probably means he'll get to use the cyber gun on the doctor.
Oh.
Yes, you're right. I'm invulnerable with this. I shall be master.
Come, let us deal with these people first. Eric!
Master, the supreme moment of my life. It was logical.
A lot of kind of Trekian echoes in this serial.
Yeah, definitely.
Logic and yeah. I can never decide if the Daleks or the Cybermen are more Borgy. Anyway, it's kind of like they're both kind of there.
Yeah. So the giant cyber slugs are kind of wriggling on the floor, and the Cybermen seem kind of disappointed with whatever it is the slugs are doing. So they move the cybermats onto this little ramp leading up to a hole in the wall, I guess, so the cybermats can spread throughout the complex and start attacking people or whatever. I think they're supposed to roll up the ramp into the hole, but I think maybe the first prop was kind of busted because it doesn't really move. But then when the Cyberman places the second cybermat on the ramp, it kind of pushes the first one up.
Nice.
Back in the main control room, Everyone is asleep except for Victoria, who's on watch. The doctor wakes up, and like when he checks his watch, he realizes that she should have woken him up like half an hour ago. It's like, his shift to be on watch and her turn to go to sleep now. But she didn't wake him up. She basically says that if he's 450 years old, he probably really needs his rest. And he's like,
well, that's very considerate of you, Victoria, but between you and me, I'm really quite lively, actually, all things being considered.
He asks if she's happy traveling with him and Jamie, and she basically says that she is, other than being sad about her father being dead.
Yeah.
She thinks the doctor might not really understand this. He, might be so old that he probably doesn't really remember his family. But he gives her a whole little doctor speech about grief and basically says that he can remember his family, but only when he really wants to. The rest of the time, they're asleep in the back of his mind, and he's thinking about other things and, can return to them and thoughts of them and whatever, when he wants to. So basically her grief about her father is going to fade in time as she continues to live her life, essentially.
Nice.
Yeah.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Because nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
Pretty convincing.
Mm-hmm. He takes over on watch, and she goes to take a nap, but then one of the cybermats shows up. And, I guess it's gotten through the walls and whatever. The doctor wakes Jamie and Victoria, and they start waking up the NPCs, but more cybermats are showing up now. One of the cybermats actually gets onto the chest of a sleeping NPC. The doctor knocks it away and wakes the guy up, but at this point they're basically trapped in this room and surrounded by cybermats. One of the Americans gets the gun and starts shooting one of the cybermats, but the doctor basically thinks this is useless. Even if shooting the cybermat is going to hurt it, there's just too many of them.
Pretty American thing to do, though.
Yeah, totally.
Oh shit, there's nothing else to do. Shoot everything.
The doctor lays this big cable out on the floor. He puts it in an arc around the humans and, wires it into some shit and electrifies it. And this causes all the cybermats to kind of start spinning in circles and stuff until the camera cuts away from them, and then the camera cuts back and they're all on their sides now and not moving anymore.
They got dizzy.
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
Are they safe now?
Oh, yes, quite safe now. The power cable generated an electrical field and confused their tiny metal minds. You might almost say they've had a complete metal breakdown.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Careful.
Awesome.
So they all kind of collectively realize that probably the cybermats would have attacked Klieg and Kaftan in the testing room also. So they figure they'd probably better go check on their prisoners and see if they're still alive or not. But it turns out Klieg and Kaftan are actually right here in the doorway of the control room. Klieg compliments the doctor on dealing with the cybermats.
Most ingenious, Doctor. Now, let's see what you can do against this.
And he raises his cyber gun and fires, and music plays and the credits roll.
Oh, man. Yeah, we were doing so well. We got untrapped and, did what we could against the cybermats and stuff, and then just walked right into, Klieg being Klieg.
Yeah, the GM's like, really? You're going to just leave Klieg and Captain in that room, like, unguarded? Players
Right.
are like, yeah, there's only one door in and out. It's fine.
Right. They'll probably die. Okay. Well, cool. Yeah, that was good. I think it's kind of like a build-up type. It feels like a build-up type episode.
Yeah, it does.
Just like things kind of falling into place and people choosing alignments and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really like making clear what the different sides are of the conflict. And
yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, I guess I was like a little bit cavey, and kind of in more enclosed area-ish, but still cavish.
Yeah, and I don't think it's fully clear whether this Cybermen tomb is like an entirely artificially constructed space, or if it started in a natural cave that they expanded out, or what. Yeah.
Like, what would they tend to do? Like, they seem to be pretty efficient, but it's more like adapting the environment to work for them rather than the other way around, I'd say.
Yeah.
Well, cool. That was a good episode. Interesting that Victoria does not like to be called Vic. That's also kind of funny. And that she just picked up a gun and started, blasting. Frank Reynolds style.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, as much as in episode 1, she was like nervous and scared about the idea of adventuring at all in the first place, she's really kind of gotten into it.
Yeah, right. Like she's gone full cowboy basically at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool. Yeah, and like we got that little, I always like it when we get a little tidbit like about the doctor and what's really going on in his mind and his history and stuff.
Yeah, totally.
So that's fun too.
Yeah, I thought his whole little speech was pretty cool and interesting.
Yeah, kind of like mentor, like, pointing out like the fact that almost giving what you might call fatherly advice, but sort of not really. So, yeah, very interesting. Is there anything else we need to know about this episode?
No, I didn't have anything else on this one.
Cool. Well, thanks for taking us through this one, Kyle. This has been an exciting tension builder, I think.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, thanks for listening and talking about it with me.
And thanks in advance, dear listener, for giving us a 5-star rating and sharing the news of the podcast to every person and sentient being that you know.
Indeed. This podcast is not meant to be restricted only to humans. We are welcoming to any sentient listeners. Even non-sentient ones that the sound of the podcast happens to enter their audio receptors, like that's fine too. They probably won't get that much out of it, but we'll still be happy to have them.
Yeah, like if maybe they'll like the frequencies,
Mm-hmm.
Like, you never know until you try. So yeah, molds, bacterias, lichens, fungi, other things that maybe we haven't thought of that still might enjoy a vibration of, frequency of vibration in the air.
Indeed. Man, if we could get like some molds to subscribe, I think our download numbers would just go through the roof.
Yeah, they really would, but I don't know. Maybe they actually are doing it, but they just never rate. So, Damn bolts. But all right, cool. Well, I'll see you, Kyle, in 2 weeks when we resume discussing the Tomb of the Daleks. Cybermen. Tomb of the Cybermen.
Indeed. Cool, yeah. And if you listeners want to also continue hearing our discussion, also come back in 2 weeks.
All right, cool.
Bye.
You know, the memory of him won't always be a sad one.
I think it will. You can't understand being so ancient.
Eh?
I mean old.
Oh.
You probably can't remember your family.
Oh, yes, I can when I want to. And that's the point, really. I have to really want to bring them back in front of my eyes. The rest of the time, they sleep in my mind, and I forget. And so will you. Oh, yes, you will. You'll find there's so much else to think about, to remember. Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Because nobody in the universe can do what we're doing. Let's get some sleep and let this poor old man stay awake.